I'm going to tell you a story. The story of a guy who had an idea so powerful and so big, it could have completely changed the world. This guy could have been me if I had let overthinking rule my life, but I didn't. In this video, we're going to cover the 3 main reasons why you might be overthinking and how you can get over them so you can become the best version of yourself. The number 1 reason for overthinking is fear, and the way to deal with it is to address your fear head on. People are afraid of doing something and then regretting that action. Jeff Bezos has an amazing framework he uses for this called the regret minimization framework. He breaks down decisions into 2 types of decision: type 1 decision and type 2 decisions. Type 1 decisions are decisions that are irreversible, getting a tattoo. Type 2 decisions are decisions where you can go through the door and then come back in. The second, when you can classify something as a number 2 decision, it makes it a lot easier to act. One of the most difficult decisions I ever had to make was, do I want to be an entrepreneur? Right after college, do I want to get a job that I know will pay me $100,000 a year? Or do I want to not be paid and try to figure things out on my own? And so here's what I did. I used a regret minimization framework. And I added on top of that Tim Ferriss's trick, which is writing out what failure looks like. Let's say I tried to do my own startup after graduation and I did not make money for a year. And I worked on it and I worked on it for 2 years and it failed. My life isn't over. And I can always go back and get that job at Goldman Sachs or Google or any of these places. And probably I will be more happy for the fact that I have done the startup, because what is worse than failing is never trying. So what you want to do is make a plan that is adjustable, that is dynamic. So think about life and decisions as not set in stone. You make a decision, and even if you disagree with some of your own ideas, you disagree and commit, and you go in this one direction. But check in with yourself every month and see if you want to adjust the direction that you're going in. Okay, but when you check in with yourself the 1 month in, how do you know if to change directions? And so the key here is to be good with checking in with yourself internally. And so I am often a person who is not swayed by what other people think, what other people do, what other people say. I do the things that are true to me. And if I could wave one magic wand and have everybody wake up the next morning and have something different about the world, it's everybody could look at themselves in the mirror and say, I'm awesome, I love myself, I'm worthy, I'm happy, I'm confident. And not only is that great because people are happier, they make better decisions. So how did I develop the ability to be in tune with myself? Well, I sit down and I journal. And so whenever I feel sad, and it happens for more than like 4 or 5 days in a row, I'll sit down, I'll make a new Google Sheet, and I'll write, okay, so for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to track my happiness. I'm going to track it in the morning, in the middle of the day, and in the evening. And I'm going to track it from a scale of 1 to 10, and I'll write how I'm feeling. And in addition, I'll add a note. Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? The second reason why people get tripped up by overthinking is abundance of choice. So here's the trick. Put blinders on yourself. If you see something and it's not like exactly the values that you want from the beginning, just move on. Don't even waste your time. And take things one at a time. And so the place that I face this issue with the most is I actually think that life has so many different things that are so exciting and wonderful to do. So how do you fit them all into a life, one life? And so the thing that I do is I sit down every single month and I break my goals into categories. And then I think of the different categories and the goals in each category, which one is the most important? The one most important. But there are categories that I really want to invest time into, but they're sitting on the back burner. And so typically the way I do that is through habits. Those activities are part of my life in the same way that eating is part of my life. Some people recommend that the way to deal with overthinking is to meditate. And I've tried this. My brain is not very good at it. And so I haven't given up on meditation, but I have things that are like meditation. Working out for me is like meditation. But the biggest form of meditation for me is audiobooks. And so what I recommend is finding that thing for you. It might be lifting, it might be drawing, it might be listening to music. And so for me, when I listen to audiobooks, it occupies my brain just enough where I can mull through all the things that are bothering me and come out with a solution at the end of the day. Now, if you want to make listening or reading into one of those things for you, click the link below and check out the audiobook section in Speechify. And so going all the way back to that guy or girl in the beginning of our video that had this idea that's going to change the lives of millions of people, or maybe just their own life. And the only thing standing between them and that life-changing idea and the difference in who they are is making the decision and doing it. And so if that person is you, take a minute, step back, write out how you're feeling, what's bothering you, why you're not doing it. Do the math on why you shouldn't do it and what's the negative consequences. And maybe go on a walk, go on a run, work out, listen into a book. Stop for a moment, give yourself the space to sit in the decision, write out what you're going to do, and do it. Happy listening.